Well, congratulations on getting started with the Crypto Trading Mastery Training. This training is designed to lay the foundation for you to become a highly successful crypto trader who has the ability to pull capital from the crypto market. That's what it's designed for. That's going to be our focus. And hopefully you're excited to get started as I am. So we're going to just jump right in. Before we do that, though, I should mention a couple things. First up, I am not a licensed financial advisor in any way, shape, or form. This training and everything I say about trading, cryptocurrencies, money, life, or anything in general should not be taken as financial advice. Everything I say or write is my own opinion. And make sure you do your own research and base all your decisions on what you find yourself. I'll say that again. Make sure you do your own research and base all your decisions on what you find yourself. I'm stating my opinions, not giving financial advice, trade advice, or financial advice in any way whatsoever. And I am not a financial advisor. And before I move on here, this is important stuff. Look, my goal here is to give you the foundation so that you can turn yourself into a successful trader. I take this stuff extremely seriously. We have capital on the line. We have risk on the line. This isn't something we just play around with and dabble in. This is something we do seriously. That doesn't mean that this presentation is always going to be just straight up serious. I'm going to try to keep it lighthearted in some key places, but there will be times where it'll be very obvious that I'm very serious because this stuff is very serious. This stuff is it's not a game. It's not something I just kind of dabble around with and just kind of play around with. It's something I take extremely seriously. So with that in mind, let's get started. Once again, the goal of this training, and I'm keeping this in mind at every level and step, and you should too, is the ability to consistently and reliably pull capital from the market. I said this in the intro video or in the overview video. You're not doing this to look at computer screens or anything else. You're doing this for some reason. Yeah, maybe you have in your mind it'd be cool to be a trader every day. That's not why you should be doing it. You should be focusing on how do I pull capital from this market. That's the right attitude to have. So I'll be reinforcing that obviously throughout this presentation, but I just want you to keep in mind that's the goal here. The other thing that you're going to learn through this training is your own trading style. So at the end of this training, you're going to have your own trading style, not mine, not someone else's, not someone that you've just heard of. They say this is the best trading style. No, you're going to have your own trading style that you believe will work for you. And it actually should be backed up by proof and evidence. Maybe you'll be like this guy. Maybe you'll have this weird chart and maybe you'll get some wallpaper that has some charting wallpaper. Interesting decor the guy has, but hey, maybe you'll be like this guy. At the end of the day, you're going to have your own trading style. You're going to have a clear, concise, and simple to easy follow portfolio strategy. And for those of you that maybe are in the red right now, the goal of the next session is to really enlighten some of your thinking about how to get in the green as quickly as possible. So look forward to that. You'll also be able to perform TA and charting better than I'd say 90% of this market. Look, there's people in this market that say TA is impossible. It is possible. Just some of the old TA from some of the other markets just don't work as well. Head and shoulders doesn't always work. Double bottoms and all these other things that traders like to come up with these terms for, they don't exactly work in this market because this market is made up a little bit differently. And that will reveal itself as we move forward here in the training. Also, and this is so important, you're going to learn to rely upon only yourself for trading success. I can't state this enough. When we really started making serious money and doing really good in this trading, when I started personally, is when I stopped listening to anybody and I built a system that worked for me. And that gave me the ability to read the market and provide to me what it was providing. And I'll probably say this time and time again, I'm very specific with the phrases I use. I try to be very specific. And there's reasons for that because the words and the phrases that you use, how you think about things, builds your habits. And your habits are one of the most important things about trading. And your ability to trust your own habits, to build your own habits, and to rely upon solely yourself for your success in trading is going to make you more successful. So a lot of times you'll hear me word things specific ways or say things a certain way. And I say them those certain ways because in a lot of ways that's the way you should think about it. But also it's framed that way to help you get to that concept quicker. So just keep that in mind, and I'm sure I'll mention that here a couple of times as well. So let's cover what we're going to cover in this session right now. We've already started, but in this session we're calling it 1A. We're going to talk about trading fundamentals mixed with a little bit of crypto sauce and attitudes to becoming a winning trader. And finally, we'll reveal the ultimate crypto portfolio strategy. And I don't believe I'm overselling that, especially now that I've talked to a lot of people on the phone. So I believe that this will be a really good eye-opening, I'd say, portfolio strategy that you can look at and create one that fits your style of trading and your own personal goals. So hopefully you're excited about that. So let's talk about the first thing. Now, this is basics. So I'm going to cover some basics here, but it's important that we kind of get on the same page. Obviously, if you're choosing to participate in crypto, right, your belief right now is that Bitcoin is going to be worth more than it is today at some point in the future. And that's critical. At this point in time, the way that the crypto market is situated, is actually operated, as valued, is that you have to have the belief that Bitcoin is going to be worth more than it is today some point in the future. Many, I don't believe, have probably really thought about what could that number be, or what is that end number, right? We'll get into some of that. But this is a given. Obviously, if you're in the market, and everybody I talk to is already in the market, you already believe that anyways, right? So that's a given. But here's something else you should do. You must start each and every single day believing at the end of the day, Bitcoin will be worth zero. That's right. Absolutely nothing. You must start the day believing that Bitcoin is going to be worth absolutely zero. And at the same time, you must believe that at the end of the day, Bitcoin is going to be worth substantially more than it is at the end of the day. I know that's completely contradictory thinking, but welcome to trading. That's trading. Trading is full of contradictory advice, logic, signals, noise, and often from an outside observer or a person who hasn't mastered themselves, it makes completely zero sense. Even if you have a little bit of experience of watching the market, it still doesn't make sense. You might see Bitcoin going up or going down and people selling. You say, why are they selling? Don't they know it's going to be worth 100,000 by the end of the year? Why are they selling now? Or why is it doing this? A lot of things in trading just simply don't make sense. That's good. Because if it made complete sense, then we could build a rigorous system that would work and everybody would be making money, and it wouldn't be possible to actually make money because the market wouldn't work. This is the market. This is trading. Because at the end of the day, trading isn't about the market. It's all about you. If you can cement this one fact into your mind, that trading has nothing to do with anybody else, with anything else. Your ability and your success in trading comes specifically to you and taking your own personal responsibility for your actions you take in trading. It's nothing. The market doesn't do anything to you. The market doesn't care. The market just wants your capital. It's up to you to protect your capital. But your decisions that you make, how you trade the market, how you enter the market, how you do everything in the market all comes down to you. Nothing to do with the market. In its simplest form, trading is your ability to control your own fear and greed. And I'll say this, the market makers, the smart money, They've known this for centuries. Every market this exists. The smart money knows how to play into the fear and greed of the market on every level, at every time frame. I don't care if you're looking to just do a quick scalp trade at 5 minutes, looking at the 4-hour charts, you're looking at the daily, you're a swing trader. It doesn't matter what you're looking to do. They know how to play into the fear and greed of the retail investor. They know how to make the market feel like it's hit its bottom, only to go lower. And then you swear it hit its bottom again, and then it goes lower. And then suddenly you sell your position, and then what do you know? It turns around. They specifically know how to play into the fear and greed of the people that they want to take money from. One of the main things that you can do to start moving the pendulum in your favor is to consistently control your fear and greed. If you can master those two things consistently, or really it's one thing, but consistently master your fear and greed, you are on the path to moving the pendulum in your favor of being a successful trader. And it really comes down to this. 95% of the trading errors you're likely to make, causing money to disappear before your eyes, will really stem from your attitudes about being wrong. You know, everybody's probably entered a trade. If you're trading already, you've already entered a trade where it goes against you, right? And you look at maybe support, or you look at a line and a price, and you say, well, if it hits 90 cents or it hits this line, it's got to bounce up. It hasn't gone below that for months. And then it doesn't bounce from that. And then it goes lower. And you're like, whoa, 85 cents, not going to go below 85 cents. That'd be crazy. Anybody would buy it from there. I might even buy more, right? It's 85 and it doesn't bounce. Finally, it gets to like 80 cents and you're like, okay, I get the picture. I'm out. And then you're out for a tremendous loss when you probably should have got out before. And then as soon as you get out, it turns against you. You've been wrong 3 times now. Is that 3 times? Yeah, you've been wrong. The first bounce, the second bounce. Well, you were wrong in your entry. You were wrong in the next bounce, in the first bounce, in the second bounce. And then when you exited, it turned right around. So you were wrong there. For some people, and not even for some people, that's really hard. But being wrong, I'm sure you know people like this in your life too. They will, if they're wrong, they will never admit it. They'll go to great lengths to not admit it. And traders, if they haven't mastered the fact that that being wrong, I'm not saying you should revel in being wrong. You should never revel in being wrong. But you need to be able to accept being wrong in the right way. We'll be covering a lot of that here throughout this training. Also, losing money. A lot of traders simply can't handle losing money. They just can't handle it. A lot of traders, they'll stay in a position much longer than they should because they know it's going to turn around eventually at some point in the future, and they just can't handle a red trade. They just can't handle losing money. Some in this market, you got involved in a market that was easy to make money in. You could throw a dart at a board and basically things would go up. And suddenly when something turns against you and you're losing money, it's really hard to accept that, especially in normal life. In normal spending and everything else, losing money is so hurtful and painful that it stings, right? It's the same way here, but losing money in trading is completely different. It's a course of the action. It's a natural progression of you actually participating in the market. It happens. It's just what happens. It's like anything else. So once again, this is one of the biggest mistakes that prevent people in trading is they're thinking about losing money, how they think about it, how they emotionally respond to it, how they interact with that. Also, missing out. I know this is a huge thing here. I've seen the conversations. I've seen people say they watch Bitcoin just go, maybe they stayed out of the market for whatever reason, and then suddenly it just goes up $500 and you FOMO in. I hate the word FOMO, but you get in because you feel like you're missing out, right? You get in and then suddenly it just stops. Suddenly it doesn't go up $500 anymore. What happened? Right? So many decisions, so many traders make losing trades because they fear missing out. They might see something running, so they jump in and then it stops. Or they might make another decision about taking profit. This is a big one. You feel like you took profits too early. So you get used to, you say, well, every time I take profits at this level, it always moons another 20%. I must be crazy to only take 10% profits. Well, I'm going to start taking 20 or 30. You start doing that, you get in the habit, and suddenly none of your profit targets get hit out. So that's one of the interesting things about the crypto market is that on so many levels, the missing out plays an important role of being a successful trader. You have to be able to control that. And I mentioned this already, but leaving money on the table. This is the hardest thing for people to do, is to have a trading plan in place. This happened a couple times the last couple days where we were in a trade, and we're in a trade a lot longer than we'd like to be. And we already set our profit targets. And we moved a couple of them just because some things were mooning, but we didn't move a lot of them just because I've been on the other side of moving things when things were starting to really pump, and we didn't get exited. So we're just picture this, right? And I'm sure a lot of, hopefully, people that are listening, you've experienced this, so you know what this is like. You've maybe been in a trade, and you've been in that trade a lot longer than you thought it was going to be. You thought it was only going to be maybe a week or something, and you'd be out of that trade. Maybe it's a quick swing trade. But then suddenly it's just kind of traded sideways for a long time. And then suddenly it starts to move, and you raise your exit, and then it doesn't reach that price, and it goes back down, and it kind of trades sideways for a while. So now you're in that trade longer. So what do? Some people, they simply will not take the profit at that point in time because they're afraid they're leaving money on the table because it's going to moon at any given time, right? These four things really, and we'll cover them throughout the training, they really are such a critical factor to mastering, to being a successful trader. They really are. Whenever you see a screen like this where it's just words, that usually means it's an important concept I'm going to cover, or something that's really deep, and I don't want any other visuals to get in the way, okay? So that's something to keep in mind. So winning traders, all right? We're going to get into some really, really important stuff here. And everything I'm covering in this intro training here will be littered throughout everything we cover hereafter, right? But you should keep a lot of these things in mind. If it was up to me, we would cover this stuff for like a week straight. But it's not the sexy stuff. It's not the exciting stuff. But this is the important stuff that builds successful traders. All right? So keep that in mind as I go through this stuff. Winning traders have attained a mindset, a unique set of attitudes that allows them to remain disciplined, focused, and above all, confident in spite of adverse conditions. The market is always adverse. It always is. And especially when you have capital on the line. And winning traders have developed the ability to remain very highly focused and confident in their own decisions, in their own actions, in this very choppy, constant choppy environment. And as a result, they are no longer susceptible to common fears of trading errors that plague everyone else. And if you are unable to trade without the slightest bit of emotional discomfort, specifically fear, then you have not learned how to accept the risks in trading. This is so huge. If you are not able to trade without emotional discomfort, meaning that you get emotional when you enter a trade or you exit a trade or something happens, then you have not learned how to accept the risk of trading. And if you want to trade, even if it's just light trading, just you want to do some position trading for the future, years down the road, you need to be able to accept emotional discomfort, specifically fear. to be able to trade successfully. Learning to accept the risk in trading is a skill. It's like riding a bike. In fact, it's the most important skill you can learn. So it's not something that can't be learned. It's something that can be learned. You have to work at it. You have to work at it at every level you're at. As you move up in trading, as you get better, you have to work at your ability to accept risk. It's a skill. It's like anything else, and anything else you get involved in. It's a skill you can learn, and it's a skill you have to constantly build. It's a muscle. It's really, you have to look at it that way. And accepting risk means that accepting the consequences of your trades without emotional discomfort or fear. That's right. When you enter a trade, whatever that consequence of it, it should not give you emotional discomfort, and it should not give you fear. Because you're choosing to participate in the market. You're choosing to enter a market that has a given set of rules and parameters. And if you're choosing to do that, you need to accept those rules and those parameters and how they work and the outcome of that in a way that does not inject fear or greed into your thinking. The best traders are not afraid. They aren't afraid because they've developed attitudes that give them the greatest degree of mental flexibility to flow in and out of trades based on what the market is telling them about the possibilities from its perspective. This is huge. Right here, this is huge. Because you have to, and oftentimes it might be confusing the way I enter trades, for instance. You might say, well, didn't he just exit a long? Didn't he just exit a scalp? Or didn't he just enter a scalp? What? I don't, sometimes it might be confusing because I send mixed signals about what we're doing. Well, I'm looking at the market at that given time and seeing what are the possibilities, what is the opportunities from the market's perspective, what is it giving me? I'm in the now moment of the market. I'm going into and out of trades, not based on my last trade, not based on future trades. I'm going in and out of trades based on that given trade environment, that given trade signals, setup, and a host of other things. I'm able to flow in and out of trades based on what the market is telling me about the possibilities. Another way to say it, the probabilities. At the same time, the best traders have developed attitudes that prevent them from getting reckless. And a lot of people, you've been in the market when it's like throwing darts against a board. That gives you the ability to be highly reckless, because when it's easy to make money, when everything goes up, then you enter trades when you probably shouldn't have. And I bet there's some people in positions right now that are reckless positions because they entered the market at a time when the market was training them that it always goes up, or that you can make a little minor entry mistake and you'll be forgiven because the market will correct and it'll moon a couple days later. It gets a lot difficult when things are in a market that's maybe going sideways, or a market that's acting weird, or a market that's going down for a longer time than you've ever experienced. So getting reckless is another important aspect. So you have to develop attitudes that you don't get reckless, that don't make you reckless. It's really easy to do, especially when you start getting a little bit more educated as a trader. You get a little bit better. You start having more success. The more success, sometimes the more reckless you'll get. That's something to guard against. And the best traders, they don't try to get anything from the market. They simply make themselves available so they can take advantage of whatever the market is offering them at any given moment. I've kind of said this already, but we're saying this again. That's really what it's about. You have to make yourself available to whatever the market provides you, whatever is there. And you have to have the mental fortitude to be able to, at that moment, take advantage of what the market is giving you at that single moment. At that point in time, you have to have that ability to do that. Once again, a lot of these concepts, I know they're maybe not new to you. Maybe you've seen some of this stuff, but I'll be sprinkling it throughout the training as well. So this is not the last time I'll be mentioning some of these things, but this is the beginning. Now let's cover a few more truths about trading in the market. And these are just some general things that I've seen statements people have made that I want to immediately change the thinking and the direction about how to think about these things. Okay? So let's first start with the first one. There is no normal. There is no normal. Markets do not have a normal. Markets are not like the price of milk. Obviously, milk does fluctuate in price, but it doesn't fluctuate a lot, right? So there's kind of a normal or a mean price of milk, you could say. There's no normal in markets, especially the crypto market, a highly volatile market. There's no normal Bitcoin price. You could try to reason that the mining price and all this other stuff, and it doesn't matter. There's no normal. So comments or conversations about why are they selling? Why is everybody selling and keeping Bitcoin down? Don't they know it's going to moon to 100,000? Don't they know it's going to be worth, 500,000 in 2 years? Don't they know this? No, they don't. And maybe they don't care, right? There is no normal. There's no normal price. There's no normal price action. There's no normal candle. There's no normal volume. Nothing is normal. There is absolutely no normal in the market. It never exists. There's averages. It's not normal. It's just an average. So stop trying to see a normal in the market. It doesn't exist. It never will exist. And it's a losing proposition. You have to learn to trade without fear or overconfidence. Both. I know it's a happy medium. It's focus. It's training. If you're fearful, you're not going to make money because you're not going to enter trades, or you're going to misread the market. You're going to make the wrong trades. If you're overconfident, you're going to lose money left and right. And before long, you're going to be out of the market anyways. And then let's say you do. Let's say you get pretty good, you get overconfident and you lose money, lose a lot of money. And then you want to maybe re-enter the market. You're going to be so fearful that you're not going to make any money because you're not going to be able to have the right mindset because you've been overconfident. And it's a cycle that a lot of traders go through. All right? You have to walk that tightrope of fear and overconfidence consistently, always. This is a constant struggle. It doesn't end. So don't think that you're going to master it tomorrow and it's just going to some magical light bulb's going to go off and suddenly you're going to have no fear and be completely confident in all your decisions. Never happens. It's a constant path to getting to that level of trading. It will always be, no matter what level you're at. And this is important. I've mentioned this now a couple times, but you need to focus on the opportunity that the market gives you. You must perceive the market and what it is offering from its perspective. You must stay completely focused in the now moment. This is probably going to be hard for some people, especially if you're down a lot. So if you're down, let's say you're down 50% in your portfolio, right? I think I saw something like that. That's really hard to stay in the now moment when you're down 50% on your portfolio and to look at the next trade and to not trade from a fearful mindset or to not overtrade to try to make up for that 50% loss. But what you should be doing is you should be looking at the market from the perspective that it's at right now, seeing what it's offering you at this given time, and acting upon that information based on that information alone. The same probability of that trade exists regardless of where your portfolio is at, regardless of what you had for breakfast, regardless of all these other things. And manipulation. Look, the market is manipulated. You either accept it or get out. I'm going to say that really directly. Every financial market is manipulated. This has been proven time and time again. Every time that it is revealed that the financial markets all over the world are manipulated, people are friggin' surprised. I don't know why. They are manipulated. And let's just say let's say you're not a conspiracy theorist, but you should be, because the markets are highly manipulated by the smart money, because they know how to play on greed and fear. They know how to buy at wholesale, and they know how to sell at retail to retail investors, and they know how to do it time and time again. It's been well documented. It's not something I'm just making up. So you don't complain about it. You should never complain about it being manipulated. You should never complain about it. If you're going to complain about it, get out. Seriously. It's not worth your time, because that's the way it works. And in a larger case, at a larger level, okay, the markets are manipulated because the market is made up of people. It's been designed by people. And since the first known history of humankind, we've manipulated our environment. It's what we do. We go somewhere and we manipulate the environment. Why would we not manipulate the market on every single level? Because it was been created by humans. It was created by people. And yes, I'm talking manipulation at a deep level, because the market, it's people are in it. It's greed, fear, wants, needs. And if we ever do get off planet and go to Mars or wherever else, let's say you're trading crypto on Mars in 20 or 30 years or whatever it is, that market's going to be manipulated too. Doesn't matter where we go in this universe. If there's people involved, the market's going to be manipulated. All right. So one of the things we'll be covering throughout this training is how to spot the manipulation and how to trade with it, how to trade against it, how to really understand it at a deep level. That's really one of the secrets to becoming a successful trader, is understanding how markets are manipulated and finding how to trade with that manipulation. And finally, the last point I'll make here is that you're responsible for your own trades. I see this a lot. There's special reports. There's these TAs, YouTube videos, all this other stuff. And maybe you stayed out of the market, or you made a trade and it went against you, right? And you blame that other person. Or maybe, I think this is recent, there's a big report comes out and the price is going to drastically go down. So you stay out of the market, and then you say, well, that person, that special report cost me money. Special report didn't cost you money. The person that made the report didn't cost you money. The person you listened to on Twitter didn't cost you money. It's not their fault you took their advice. It's your fault for listening to it and not actually entering the market and keeping your capital on the sidelines. They didn't cost you money. So I know this sounds a little harsh, but if you want success in trading, the first thing you could start doing, amongst all the stuff that we've already talked about, is instantly take responsibility for your own trades. It doesn't matter how you got to that conclusion. If you read a special report and that special report convinced you that the price was going to go X at a certain date, and you decided to act upon that or not act upon that, you decided that. It's your own responsibility. So doesn't matter what I say, it doesn't matter what anybody else says. The quicker that you can get to the point of being able to take personal responsibility for your own trading, the quicker you're going to have success in your own trading. All right, so I know I've got pretty serious here. So I know I really spoke directly, but like I said, I take this stuff seriously. Of course, we'll get lighthearted here and there, but these are some things that I'll sprinkle throughout the training. And this is just the start. Look, the good thing about this, the really, I'd say, awesome thing, the opportunity that you have is you actually have a secret weapon to defeat everything we've talked about here. You possess the single best trading indicator ever created. That is the human mind. The human mind, when properly trained to trade, is better than any technical analysis indicator, any bot, any other thing out there. It is the single best trading tool that exists. The problem is it's got these things called emotions. It controls sweat glands. It controls you're blinking. It controls so many other things that can affect your success in trading. You have to be able to master those things in order to unlock the potential of the single best trading indicator ever created, the human mind. All right. So now let's move on to something that I think everybody will highly appreciate, which is I'm going to share with you the ultimate crypto portfolio strategy, especially if your portfolio's in the red or if you're just getting started or you're not quite sure what's the best kind of way to position in this market given a long-term or a short-term, medium-term, long-term, and have opportunity for some of the things that are coming not only in maybe a future crash, but also coming out the other side. We'll be covering all of that in the next session.